pushing the button, Mrs. Ryan. Roll it. It's the Wednesday show. Yay! Coming, Mrs. Ryan.
Still fixing cameras.
I'm coming, Mrs. Ryan. Don't mind me.
Hello.
There we go. Lights are already on. Good stuff. It's the Wednesday show. Yay! Got the cards. Oh, my goodness. Hi, Mrs. Ryan.
Hello.
Welcome back to everybody else. Look at that. We're all doing it. Good grief. All right. Let's see. I guess I got to get closer to you because we're all right. Welcome back, everybody else. Hi there. Good evening. Today is Wednesday, October 16th, 2019. Welcome back to the old late night playset. My name is Jay Ryan. This is Nicole Ryan. We are the Ryans. And, man, it's going to be a good time. We had a flag on the play just a moment ago. We started the show about 1 minute ago and got about to this point when I realized that there was a button I didn't push. So we're on take two.
Here we
go.
But
we want to talk to you about the guest who's here today. Told you all about him a second ago, Richard CHASSLER. He is the comedy booker for this show. He is also a very good stand-up comedian in his own right. He is here tonight, as we ask him to do every 6 months or so, to come join us here in the set and see what he's up to, find out how the comedy bookings have been going, etc., etc. And obviously, we've got a lot of news to share with him as far as the show goes as well. So we'll get him in here in just a couple minutes. There's not too much to do today, Mrs. Ryan. Some fun stuff, though. How are you doing? Let's start with that. How are you feeling today?
doing okay. It's a thinking day.
You look fantastic.
Thank you so much.
All smiles.
Yes. I'm bringing it from the shirt.
Yeah, I like it.
What it's all
and
about.
it matches your Hunziker shoes there. Even
Thank
better.
Yes.
All right, so we have something that we've never done before, and I thought that it would be interesting to do it on the show, mainly because you at home have seen us grow through every single process of this, from starting to, oh, what's my voice sound like, to, get the headphones off, and you've seen the whole process, and now we're actually taking places. So one of the things we have to do today is we have to record a commercial. Yeah, for Anchor, who is our podcast platform. Mm-hmm.
That's exciting.
So I don't know how to do it, but we just do it right here on the iPhone. There's instructions, but I figured for the sake of the whole thing, they're going to hear it all the time. May as well just see us do it right here, right?
Here we go.
All right, so it's Anchor. It's tap to record. There's a script, but I think basically it's just us talking about our experience podcasting. We've never been podcasters before. This is new. This is for the podcast.
All right.
This is not for the
Just
YouTube
the
show. That's
okay.
right. But this is anyone listening to it. This is for you. All right. So here we go over here. Tap to. Okay. So script. These are the required points to express in your ad. Feel free to paraphrase and speak from your own experience. Oh boy, Mrs. Ryan, this is going to be good. Are you good?
Yes.
Well, who knows how this is going to go? It might be a disaster, but I just wanted everybody else to see it. It might be fun.
I'll leave the scripty stuff to you, but I think it'll be pretty quick. I look forward to it.
It says tap here to start recording. Doesn't seem to do that, though, does it? Did you notice that?
I did.
This may not be as easy as I thought. We might not be... Oh, record right now, yeah. Well, maybe it is going. I don't really... That doesn't seem right to you, does it? No. All right. Maybe we'll be figuring this out another time. Not right now, thanks. Oh, well, I guess we'll be figuring this out another time. All right, well, that's all right. Moving on.
Look for the commercial.
Seemed like it would be fun. Well, no, we'll do it here tomorrow.
Oh.
Gee whiz. What, are you producing the show?
No. I just encourage everyone to
I want them to experience it with us.
Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow.
Yep. Were you thinking that we'd sneak it in and then they'd have it?
No, I wasn't thinking anything.
No, all right. Boy, roadblock. Mrs. Ryan, moving on, we've got an East Coast feed. You want to check in with those guys?
I would love that.
Okay, I bet you would. Let's go behind. No, we're not going in behind anywhere. Let's go all the way to the East Coast. Check in with Danbury Chive, and I believe we're Brooke and the Casman. I don't think we're at BMW here. I think this is a personal one. Let's check it out. Roll it out.
Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, look what we got here. Grandma, say hi to Jay and Nicole.
Hi, how you doing?
It's Saturday, and guess what we're doing? Brooke, what are you learning how to do today, Brooke? Making meatballs.
This is a big deal.
Mr. Ryan, look at that. Oh, there it
Deal
is.
right here.
Be jealous. We got 2 pounds of chopped meat here. Grandma's teaching her how to make the meatballs. Next is sauce. She's almost Italian.
This is a big deal.
Right? You good, babe? How'd you like putting your hands in the meat? Did you like that? It's the
Oh,
favorite
shit,
thing
like that
ever.
at
She
all.
loved it.
You can see it in her
Anyway,
face.
love you guys.
Oh, yeah. That was awesome. That was awesome. All right. You guys are so great. She looked like she hated that.
Yeah.
And that's part of the meatballs is you
Right,
got to get your
yeah.
hands dirty. Grandma, 90-something years old. I don't want to say because she might, that might be considered rude. Jay, come on now. Jay, don't mess with me, Jay. I've known her my whole life almost. 90-something years old, and Grandma is straight up like immigrant grandma. Like
She's
the
Italian.
recipes are from the homeland. Yeah, absolutely. So these are Grandma's meatballs, Grandma's sauce. Brooke, I don't want to say the nickname, but Brooke from Multiplicity is Kazman knows what I mean. She's learning how to make the meatballs, and it's a very, very big deal.
It's huge.
It's one of those things that not everybody, you can't just like go over to Grandma's. There's like a school, and there's hours of classes, and there's a whole thing.
I asked one time for the recipe, and it was like, no, it's
It doesn't
a
work that
process.
way. Yeah. You have to kind of almost be accepted in and then ingratiated, and then they have to teach you.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the meditation where,
Transcendental
meditation, where you're advised to go with a
Have an advisor.
buddy.
I can't wait
them,
for
love
you to
them,
make
love
them
them.
here, Brooke.
All right, moving on to Dave Watch, Mrs. Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Today is October 16th, as we mentioned just a few minutes ago. I am putting an X on this calendar to denote that David Letterman is not sitting in that chair. But if you have been watching our show lately, it is not a surprise to you that we are going after Mr. David Letterman to be a guest on our show, to have a conversation that should have taken place many, many years ago between him and me. Right, obviously. Can't imagine what it could be about. Yeah, so it's good. If you've been watching, you've heard that we've made a tremendous amount of progress. We're very, very close. No new news today, if I'm correct about that, Mrs.
As far as I know, there is none.
Which means, in my mind, that, of course, Dave is still going through the backlog of hundreds of episodes. I'm just kidding about that. But hopefully there is some research and discussions being had.
I have a feeling there's lots of that.
Yeah, the little bit of information that we did get, it made it sound like we've all known about this for a while, thought it was crap. Now that it's real, every filter changes.
Yeah, you have to start from the beginning
Yes,
again. And
everything,
go through
the full
everything.
extrapolation from day one all the way back. And it's like, wait a second, what? How many things? There's so much involved here. This is an incredible story that nobody's ever heard. And I'm not saying that because it's about me. I'm saying that because everybody who's ever heard it is like, this is the most amazing story. We have to do something with it. To the point where eventually I believe it, and here we are. That's the truth. So there we are. Maybe we'll have information soon. Who
Great.
knows? Very excited about it, though.
Fingers
Good for all of us.
crossed.
Good for all of us. Good for the show, and it's just cool. It's just fun and exciting. I mean, Dave's kind of relevant still. Not kind of relevant still. He's very relevant still. But I feel like it's the new Dave, and there's a lot of other stuff that people don't know still, and he's popping up on podcasts now. He was just on Conan O'Brien's podcast the other day. Which, I mean, that's a big one. Of course he was on that one, but he is doing podcasts.
It seems to me like he's telling stories that people want to hear that aren't the salacious ones that everyone clamored for before. It's like no one cares about that
Right.
stuff. What really
Remember when
happened,
Madonna said F word on your shit? Like, yes, of course.
Great.
Great
No one
television back then. Sure. Yeah.
So we're all in that boat.
I know that I see your wheels spinning in your brain behind the scenes. I'm sure that your counterpart on Dave's side is doing the same thing. So it's exciting time. That's all I have, Mrs. Ryan. It is time to ask the question that's on everyone's mind. What's going on, Mrs. Ryan?
There's these two adorable dogs on Instagram, Jake and Addie. Addie's the younger sister of Jake, who had to have his eyes removed.
Oh, gosh.
So he's now blind, but like his human, of course.
2 + 2, I gotcha.
Gotcha. Thanks. His humans really agonized over that choice, though, because it was at first like, what's wrong with him? So they went through that process. It turns out his eyes weren't making tears. It
so
dried out
drying
his
out,
eyeballs. And so the option was put him down or take his eyes out. And they really didn't know what to do. So they looked around and they asked around. This young dog takes care of him, like guides him everywhere and tells him how to do stuff. Their younger dog. So
amazing.
it's a really neat story of like, just take a step back and see what's around you. And like, you do stuff for me. I follow you in weird ways sometimes. And like, it's not a thought process. It's just an intrinsic thing. And it seems like that crosses animal boundaries all the time.
When that's going on, I never feel like, you're following me. I don't mean that. I mean, you're latched on to me like the geese in a V. I mean, you're just following in line where you think you're supposed to be or whatever. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. But that's I love stories where animals are helping other animals.
It's
I love
adorable.
it where interspecies sometimes too you get. And I just think that's so neat. Sometimes they're not supposed to, we're always told these don't get along, and then you see them like in some nature
This
video
is a
helping
mom
with-
to that. It's like,
I
whatever.
love that stuff. I love
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna put a picture up. They're so cute. The humans dress them up with bow ties and stuff. It's adorable.
It's a shame because not all of them can enjoy that.
Right.
The one dog doesn't get to see how cute they are.
I'll
Go
find
ahead,
one when
Mrs.
they're
Ryan.
not dressed up. You're totally right. There's being new studies done that are determining correlations between walk speed and the age of your brain.
Oh yeah, I read that the other day.
Yeah, it's not new, but they're delving
I
into
didn't like
it.
the headline versus the story. The
Correct.
headline and the story do not align for me, so therefore I automatically don't like the story because what they were saying, fine, it's true, but it lost all credibility for me.
It lost some with me too, and then I thought about it differently. Like time's
Okay.
kind of a construct, so age is a construct, thusly. So saying you have an old brain, it's like, what do you mean by that? And then you can look at things, you can pivot how you're thinking about stuff. So like when you're walking slow, maybe it's because your brain's thinking about something new and it's growing and it's nascent, like it's not built up yet. So you never know. It's just something to think about, like if you're walking differently. It definitely happened to me over the years, so you never know. It was a big thing in New York City, like people walk very fast there. And my brother was
Used to
always
be.
like,
I mean, you used to be able to. You can't anymore.
no.
Everyone. No.
I heard it.
No, I mean, it was always difficult at rush hour, but I'm speaking about the years when I lived there, and it was before cell phones, when it was like when 6 guys, the Wall Street guys had the big brick phone and the
Right.
Zach Morris phone, and that was it. But not everybody, and you didn't used to have to look at them. People would talk on them while they were walking around. Now, they're just screens. So
Right.
nowadays, New York it's crazy.
It
And
is
I
great.
mean, I haven't even spent a good deal of time in the city in a few years now. So I'm talking about a few years ago. It was nuts. What I considered nuts.
That's a good
I
point.
equated it to and I referenced this a lot. But when the guy from Shawshank, the old guy, the Birdman, when he gets out of prison. And the world's gotten itself in one hell of a hurry. That whole thing, it's true. Once you're out of the loop for a little bit, you go back and you're like, holy shit, things are moving so fast. There's so many things going on. You can't even. And to me, it almost falls into that category.
That's a really good way to look at that, too. Yeah.
It's where, you know what I mean? It's just, how much can you take in? We had this conversation with somebody at Breakfast Club who is older than us by some margin, and he had asked the question once, can you, it was the equivalent to, can an old dog learn new tricks? You know what I mean? Can you still learn stuff at an old age? And I think this person was maybe talking about learning piano at the time, perhaps taking up piano for the first time because they always had a love and appreciation for it. And it's not too late. That person's doing it and having a great time with it, and he's doing great. He's doing very well with his studies of the piano. So to me, and this is somebody who was perhaps concerned about that. So to me, it leans more to what you're saying about it's all up here. How old do you want to be?
Yes. That's what I took away from it. How old do you think? Okay.
And that is not what the headline or the article said.
No. So I'm, but it's the same information, just looked at differently. It's kind of my MO.
You're awesome.
Thanks. When I was a kid, the piranhas were scary because they had so many teeth. That was the thing.
That's not true.
That's not
They
true.
were scary because they ate flesh.
Right.
Many
and then
fish have teeth, but those happen to be meat eaters. And
Don't
from
they
the
have
movies,
like gangly like?
they're scary because of the cartoons and the movies and everything.
All right. Well,
But yeah, they're not. I mean, they look like they would eat.
They looked scary. In my head, they looked scary. So this article was like, what's
I think you're
happening?
right. I can understand, especially with what we're painted as kids.
Well, they have a cousin that's like a plant-based.
This is not where you were going. I read a completely different piranha story the other day. Please, go ahead.
They're called pacas. I didn't know there was something that didn't eat meat. But anyway, there was some news. Everyone's looking at everything differently. So scientists are looking at studies that they'd done that they thought they understood and knew with new technology. And what they're finding is really cool.
We have to do everything over again now in the digital world.
Yeah. So,
it started with like the DMV and the tax records and everything. And now we're just getting to everything.
Everything. So
all of the data, all the National Geographic, like all of the everything we ever used to do that was in notebooks and everything else. Now it's just everywhere. We've got to redo it with all the data and the new stuff we know because of the data.
Yeah. And we're explorers all over again.
Ugh.
Apparently that was what I wanted to do. So I love it. But anyway, what they're finding out with this new technology, in piranhas specifically, is that, and the pacas also, they're non-flesh eating ones, is that teeth are kind of interspersed in blocks.
Yeah.
So they're growing all the time. And so they wear old teeth like hats and then they just fall off. But like it's the whole side of their mouth.
Yeah, this is exactly the same story, but man, you put a lot of other stuff in it. Piranha, which was not known previously, have one side of their teeth is constantly regenerating. So like a snake sheds its skin over time, or like people. Me neither until this story, but that's what your article said.
Right.
Or perhaps it's two articles on the same topic. Anyway, I found it interesting also. There's a pocket. There's a pocket where there's one always regenerating. So when one falls out, the other one comes through. It's not dissimilar to humans, I think, but we only do it, I think, the one time. If you're normal. Like if you're normal, quote unquote.
I hope I didn't read that wrong. I read it that their teeth were like interconnected in blocks, so they whatever. Read up on piranha teeth, apparently.
See who you want to believe on this one.
Yeah, have a gander. Okay. Lastly, there's going to be a live-action Lady and the Tramp movie.
How does that happen?
I'm not totally sure. The trailer was a little unclear because it only focused on the main two characters, which is some girl I don't know and Justin Theroux.
Lady and the Tramp. I was never big on the romantic Disney movies. I was a boy. They escaped me. Nobody ever took me to them. Is that? It's the two dogs, right? In the spaghetti bowl.
Correct.
Is that the one I'm thinking of? Mm-hmm. Well, I guess you could do that, right?
Yeah, there was tons more to that
two
story,
dogs in
though.
love?
There's tons more to the story. I remember the dogs being in love, but there's like a teacher, older dog that they've switched the gender of. Now it's a lady. So who knows, from Scotland, but it's going to be on the Disney Plus channel.
Oh,
it's
gosh.
their new whatever.
Yep.
But the good news
You
about
do a lot of
this,
stories about that. Are you getting money from those Disney Plus people?
not yet.
Okey-doke.
But it's an all rescue cast. So that's why I like the story. All the dogs, all the live action dogs. Slow news day. But
Here's the thing. Here's what
rescue dogs.
in the movie business, all animals on set have to be through the Humane Society. Or I mean they're overseen by the Humane Society, so they're all animal wrangler. I don't know how that
So this is just a PR spin.
Yes.
I got sucked
without
in.
a doubt.
Gosh darn
Without
it.
a doubt. Now I'm not saying they all have to be rescued. That's a neat thing. But what that says to me is, whoever provided the animals for this movie, you know what I mean? Because it's not like they went and rescued some animals and then put them in the movie. They have to be trained for years to become show animals.
I got swindled by my own job. And I'll take full ownership of that.
But I bet there's a lot of extras and all those dogs or rescues that were put in there. And whoop, whoop, whoop.
Disregard that story.
What's
Gosh
going
darn
on, Mrs. Ray? Oh, God, you're great. You are great. I like the ones where you stumble because watching you get out of it, which you're doing so well these days, is a joy. Do you remember when Johnny Carson used to like flub a joke or the monologue wasn't funny or just whatever? It was so much better for the audience. I mean, he was dying up there, I'm sure. You know how it feels. It feels awful.
I do now. I
But
didn't understand.
when you're watching it oh gosh, it's the best part. When you're like, who doesn't want to watch you squirm or me squirm?
Well, here
They
you go.
do.
Enjoy.
That's what you want. You want the fans to watch the show because they like it, and then you want the people you don't watch the show to watch you be uncomfortable because that sucks.
Gear up, people that don't like me. This is uncomfortable AF.
All right. Let's see. 19 minutes on the button, just like we always do. Mrs. Ryan, let us please take a break and get our guest in here, Richard CHASSLER. It's Friends Week, everybody. Friends Week. It's exciting. We had our my old friend from high school, Alex Bloom, here yesterday to talk about his new movie on Netflix, Daddy Issues, which doesn't matter. Daddy Issues. And then today we have Richard CHASSLER, the talent booker from this very show and a very good friend of ours. So more to come right after this. Richard CHASSLER in that chair. See you in just a few.
Follow your dreams, or they'll chase you forever. They'll chase you forever. They'll chase you forever.
I need to be somewhere where the people appreciate sensitivity and art and romance, and where the people understand and appreciate me.
Then I have a great idea. Leave.
So what's your deal?
Hi.
I know when a person's had sex and when they haven't.
Just your type, huh? She's everyone's type.
She's the next Valentina.
You ready?
Next Vera Wang.
Yes, you're talented.
She's the best. The best. The best designer in all of LA. Show 'em, Jazz.
Bam!
What is this?
Does someone want their allowance?
Please, Daddy. Please. Guyana likes it.
But you're a lesbian.
Who told you that?
Not afraid if I'm blind or I'm far.
People don't really make fun of you for being different anymore. They kind of think it's cool.
Okay, well then what are you?
Kind of admire.
What are you? What do you mean?
But they're still them.
I like girls. I'm queer. I'm gay.
And you're still you.
That's great, but I'm not.
Then what are you then?
We're not doing anything wrong.
But that's the classic, not the new Wayfarer, right? They've got the more rounder cat eye.
No, but I'll show you
I like
something
that.
interesting.
Oh, he's gone. I thought we'd be back, but not quite. Just a few more minutes.
Are we rolling?
Yeah,
You
we're
didn't
always
tell me we were
rolling. That's right.
Put those on for a second.
Okie doke.
We can't be rolling. Don't roll through this.
We're rolling through this. Holy shit,
So-
this is awesome.
So those are the
I got a half
Wayfarer-
a pack of cigarettes and a full tank of gas. And,
Now those are the Wayfarer Dallas.
Yeah.
but this is the
That's
proper
what that
Blues
looks
Brother, right?
Those make every face. Put those on, Mrs. Ryan. Nobody can wear those glasses and not look amazing. I'm telling you.
But
And
you
they're
can feel the
hardest-
weight of that. That's the vintage.
Yeah,
Is it
those are the-
Bakelite?
those
Is that
are
what they were
so
made of?
good.
I feel like a very old person that can't
But-
see well.
No, it's the opposite.
No,
you're Audrey
you're
Hepburn.
So
Yeah,
cool.
right.
Yeah, those are dope.
all right.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, but those are the hardest
Oh,
to
yeah.
find out of
Thanks.
all the Ray-Ban sunglasses that I look for. That particular pair is the hardest to find.
The glasses you're wearing right now are proper, legit, good spectacles. They really are.
Thank you.
And we were having welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. We are sitting here with Richard CHASSLER having a fantastic and what I consider very interesting story about the original Wayfarers. Did you say that Ray-Ban was Bausch and Lomb?
Yeah.
Were they owned by Bausch and Lomb?
Yeah, if you look inside.
Hang on, I didn't know that, but Bausch and Lomb's headquarters was in my hometown of Wilton, Connecticut, just
It was
down.
on all
yes.
the back of my contact lens solution when I was a kid.
Oh,
I don't know that they
really?
still
Yeah.
are, but a lot of those chemical companies and all that stuff was literally where I grew up.
Well, Ray-Ban was Bausch and Lomb. If you look inside the original Wayfarer arms, it will always say Ray-Ban B&L USA.
No kidding.
Yeah, and then on the lenses, there's a B&L where there's now an RB.
Right, for Ray-Ban.
Okay, because so what happened was Ray-Ban, which is owned by eyeglass mega giant Luxottica.
I didn't know there was a name, but I knew they were part of the big.
Luxottica is the company that owns if you wear sunglasses.
They're Clear
chances
Channel for
are-
eyewear, right?
Yeah, they're Clear Channel for eyewear. Chances are, if you wear sunglasses, I don't care what brand of sunglasses you make, I guarantee you they're probably owned by Luxottica.
Yeah.
So anyway, Ray-Ban sold out from
How long
B&L.
ago? A long time ago?
Maybe
Or?
15 years or so. B&L got out of the sunglass and eyeglass business. They only do lenses now. Just contacts. That's it. But they're like the biggest contact lens provider in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Let alone the solutions and everything else.
Right. So Ray-Ban bought everything from Bosch and Lomb.
No kidding.
Yeah. All their like hardware, like,
all the recipe to the lenses, everything, and then didn't use
Nike buying Converse, the same kind of thing.
and then didn't use any of it. Like they changed the recipe in the lenses. The lenses aren't the same. Then they moved everything to Italy. So for a while in the early 2000s, you'll see it says Ray-Ban.
I remember that. It was all fancy.
Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Why don't you just make Harley Davidson in Japan?
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Okay, seriously. So I stopped buying Ray-Bans immediately.
It was Ford versus Ferrari, and then like, just make it Ferrari.
That movie's coming out.
I know. That's why I thought it'd be relevant.
Yeah.
What I noticed I can't believe we're talking about this, but I find it genuinely interesting. What I noticed in picking those up was the weight, and not the weight of the glasses, the frames themselves.
Yeah, these are chunky.
Is it Bakelite? Is it that old school whatever that
they
like
make
telephones used to be made at, like that, like whatever?
Oh yeah,
I mean?
it feels kind of like
they're real. It doesn't feel printed or like mass produced.
No.
Yeah,
These are. I know
think that shit's pressed.
You can see like the guy in the factory like pouring thick black goopy stuff into a mold by hand.
That's totally what I'm envisioning.
At least you want to imagine that.
Awfully toxic.
You know, people dying. They're like wheeling people out on gurneys. They're wheeling new people in just to get the eyeglasses made. There's posters of James Dean up, you know.
God, all of this on the heels of a compliment about your nice glasses that you are wearing. You look sharp.
Thank you.
And I like your whole outfit today.
Well,
I like your whole thing today. Your whole energy is really good.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
I feel great.
You look good.
I feel really good.
Let's get to you. What's going on with you?
Well, before we get to me, first, you mentioned the outfit.
Yes.
So today is Bob Weir's birthday.
Oh.
So
it's a good telefunken day, too, then.
Yeah. So in honor of Bob Weir, I wore a Rat Dog t-shirt to say happy birthday to Bob Weir.
That is awesome.
And I will make sure to hashtag the shit out of this and hashtag Dead and Company and hashtag Bob Weir and at Bob Weir and at Dead and Company.
I know, we wish we knew. We would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Got the Dead and Company shirts. Are you going in December? I think they're coming back for
December
the Forum.
December 28th at the Forum.
Are you in town or are you out
working?
working?
I am in town. I have a court date on the 20th for traffic, so I will be in town unless I'm skiing. It's a dumb.
Run a light.
Are you joking me? You want me to tell the story?
If you're interested, I would love to hear this story.
I'm pulling out. Now, this is why I don't understand white privilege. I get none.
All right.
I don't know if it's because I'm Jewish, but when people talk, people are like, yes, you do. Your whole life is white privilege. I'm like, why? Because I don't live in a box? That has nothing to do with me. It's because my parents had a job. That's all. Believe me. And after I was 18, if I didn't have a job, I'd be living in a box, which I did for a year. And we'll get to that when we talk about the acting thing you wanted to talk about.
That's pretty heavy, by the way. I forgot what we were going to talk about.
Why you're in traffic.
Exactly.
Oh, there it is.
So I'm pulling out of a parking lot on Beverly and Robertson.
There's your problem.
No white privilege.
Beverly
There's your problem.
Hills. Oh, okay. And I'm pulling out of the parking lot. And as I'm pulling out of this parking lot onto Beverly and make a right heading west, I'm pulling my seatbelt on. As I'm pulling out of the parking lot. Like, I didn't put it on when I got in the car. Like, I got in the car, did a couple things, took a hit of weed, I don't know, whatever. And
jeez.
No, I would never drive stoned. And ever. And I definitely did not take my driving test stoned and get a 96. Let's establish that. So I'm pulling my seatbelt on as I'm pulling out of the parking lot. And a motorcycle cop.
What that looks like is someone who's
pulls me over and gives me a $50 seatbelt ticket.
So may I ask you, was the motorcycle cop like hiding over there looking for no strap and then grabbed you? Or was it, saw you doing it, looked like you were doing it because, there's a cop, which you probably were not doing.
No, I was doing it because I was pulling out of the parking lot.
I believe all of that. Yeah.
And the guy pulls me over and he gives me the ticket.
So for $50, you're going to go to court in Beverly Hills, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
First of all, for $456, I'm going to court downtown.
Holy shit. Okay, sorry. I thought you said it was a $50 ticket.
I did
please go ahead.
I did say it was
I'm shutting up, Richard
it was a $50 ticket.
I'm shutting up, Richard
But
Chassler.
I'm running this conversation. No, I'm just kidding. I did say it was a $50 ticket. So the cop says to me when he gives me the ticket, now listen, you got to wait 72 hours.
Oh, yeah, I got that rigmarole because it's not in the system yet.
Right. Then you go online and pay the ticket.
Yep.
And I go, pay the ticket? I go, what if I want to? He goes, you don't fight this ticket. You just go pay it. It's a $50 ticket.
I love it.
In 72 hours, it'll be in the system, and then you go online and just pay it. I love that
he's like, you're just giving us $50. We're charging you $50 because you didn't put your seatbelt on fast enough. That's
so
the fine.
I leave town. I go on the road. I come back.
Oh, I thought you meant Beverly Hills.
Now the tickets.
So then I drove
I skipped,
right into Brentwood.
Yeah,
Fuck
I
those
skipped
guys.
town. I skipped right over to Century City.
Show them.
I hopped
Shopping.
right over that city line, boy.
Shop at Westfield instead.
That's right. They arrested me at Italy. With a mozzarella stick and a glass of Prosecco.
So you said screw that, and then
really
you got a
reaching for-
failure to appear?
No, I didn't. I came back, and then it was like a week later, maybe 10 days. So I went online to pay the ticket. And I thought I had done it all correctly. I'm not a moron.
Oh, jeez.
And I thought I had paid it online and blah, blah, boom, and that's it. And then threw it away and went about my life.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing I know, I get a letter saying that my $50 ticket had gone to a collection agency for $400 and something. And if I wanted to contest it, I could. So I called the number and I set up a court date, and I'm going to go in and tell the judge, like, look, dude, I had no problem paying this $50. Here's the $50.
And the judge is going to say, look,
no,
it's $450. You don't contest this one. You just pay me $450.
No.
The
judge isn't gonna, the judge won't hold me to the $450. I really tried to pay it online. I really did.
I believe you,
and,
but don't they hear that from every single person every day?
Yes, but I can't imagine that if somebody...
But I'm different.
I'm asking, what makes? How does one convince someone these days in this world?
You whip out the money, because I can't imagine if you're a guy who can't afford the $450 and you walk into that courtroom and you say whatever bullshit you want to say to the guy, and then you go, but I have the 50. I can't imagine the city's going to go, nope, sorry.
Oh, I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think they will. I think they'll start.
I really don't.
Because then the $450 becomes $900 with the
Your
penalties,
Honor,
and then they can go for you
Google
for that,
me.
and then it's $1,800, and then they can go for you for that. It's really makes more sense.
Your Honor, I travel as a stand-up comedian. Google me. Oh, wow, you really do. Yes, that's correct.
Then it's going to be a judgment call.
I'll take a 50-50 judgment call any day.
I mean, whether he likes your comedy or not.
That's up to him. But I have no problem throwing a wrench in the spokes and...
slowing the process down and whatever. At least fighting the system a little bit.
I'm not going to bend over for $450 when I legitimately went online and thought I had paid this ticket.
I do understand
Okay?
that.
And I have no problem taking a day out of my Christmas week to go downtown at 8 in the morning. Oh no, I think I got a 1 o'clocker.
Oh,
yeah, I think I got a 1
Come in
o'clocker.
after lunch.
She was like 8:30. I go no. No, I work in nightclubs at night. I said, can we do something different than that? So, yeah.
So you may or may not go see the show at the Forum in December because of
they
this
may
court
lock
date.
me up for my...
I don't know. You brought up the court date when I asked if you were going to the show.
Yes, I should be in town. But really, Bobby, $180.
All of that was a yes. I'm going to the show.
But really, Bobby, $180 for a ticket at the Forum? Really?
Is that what it is?
It's a little expensive.
That's too much because I don't consider that a good place to see a show.
Have you been to the Forum since it's been redone for music?
I've heard it's been good.
But
it's the sound system and stuff that's changed, right? It's not the. It's still the bowl.
No, yes, but they put new seats in. They did a little bit of re-angling and they carpeted. So the sound
it's a
is getting
legitimately
sucked
a different
up a little
place.
bit.
This is not
cool.
the same place.
It sounds really different.
It's really cool. I saw the Stones there.
Wow, and they
how was that?
They do mainly concerts now, right? That's it. Okay.
It's a music
How were the
venue.
Stones?
It was right after they redid it, and it was the first time the Stones had played like an arena inside in many, many years. And I had seen them at the Pantages when they did that show like 10 years ago or something. The Stones were okay. I don't love seeing the Stones anymore. Sorry, Mick.
Is it because you've seen it or because it's not as good as it used to be?
Well, I've been seeing them for a long time.
That's kind of what I mean. Like, so you know, and...
I kind of had, and I know this is going to sound weird because this is like my elitist, purist, white privileged, music loving ass, I guess. I guess there is a little white privilege in my life. No, ever since Bill Wyman left the band, I've sort of had a little bit of weirdness about the Stones.
Okay.
You know, to me, it's not really like seeing the Stones without Bill Wyman being there.
Okay, I think you're entitled to that,
You
right?
know, that's just, and I've seen them several times, and Nathan East is a great bass player and all that stuff.
Keith Richards is in the Stones, right?
Yes.
He also lived in the town where we were just talking
You
about him
just said
yesterday.
yesterday,
Because Alex we were just talking about.
Oh,
that.
wow,
So
that's
we used to
very,
see him all the
very
time,
cool.
and I didn't get the Stones. I mean, I didn't get the Stones till like 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
It had to be an adult. It was somehow it was like, my parents liked it, so I don't. Blah blah blah. You know?
Oh yeah,
that bullshit.
Yeah, you too was
until
like
you
that
get
for
to
me.
a certain age, and then you're kind of like, fuck, this is all great stuff. What have I been doing? I'm so wrong.
Right?
It's amazing stuff. Yeah, from the Beatles to the Stones, all that stuff.
Yeah, but now there's that thing, you know, which camp?
Oh, wait, you mean Beatles or Stones?
Beatles or Stones.
Oh, I didn't even mean to start something. I literally was using those two as reference, not knowing there was a thing.
You can Google that.
But why on earth would that be?
Because Beatles or Stones. They were the two biggest.
They're both the 60s. They're both at the same time.
They were the two biggest bands to come out of the British invasion.
Oh, I always forget the Rolling Stones are British. That's it. Yeah.
The Rolling Stones used to call themselves the greatest rock band on earth. Okay? The Beatles were influenced by Elvis. Clearly as big as you could get.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of started, I'm guessing, in Great Britain.
Okay.
Are you a Beatles or a Stones fan? And then I guess it just kind of was one of those things, like Beatles or Stones.
But were they even ever there at the same time?
Of course.
It seems to me like, in my mind, they both got here. I feel like, I guess you're right.
Of course.
I don't know the history enough. In my mind, is Beatles first, though, or Stones first? As far as breaking in the U.S.
Let's
Ed
see.
Sullivan, blah, blah, blah.
Well, the Beatles came here
That was
in
63.
64.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I would say the Beatles were probably here before the Stones.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had always heard that the Beatles were heavily influenced by Buddy Holly.
Elvis. I don't know, maybe, but there's a really famous story about the Beatles going to Elvis's house and.
Really?
Oh,
I don't know the story. Do you mind? Do you know it well enough to tell it?
My uncle was there. I'll tell you.
Camera 4. It's all yours.
So if you go back and you look at old pictures of the Beatles when they were the Quarrymen, okay, or Johnny and the Moondogs.
Before Ringo, right? This is the other guy.
Before Ringo.
Yeah.
And actually, yes, and with Ringo. Because Ringo joined, I believe, when they were Tony Sheridan was drumming. Yeah, okay.
Because the other guy was a Beatle, wasn't he?
Right.
The fifth Beatle.
Pete
Best, right.
Okay. So the Beatles were dressed in black leather jackets with white T-shirts, boots, jeans, greased hair.
Do we know these Beatles? We never saw those Beatles, right?
These pictures are all over the internet.
But this is pre-Ed Sullivan Beatles.
Oh, way pre-Ed Sullivan Beatles. This is pre-Brian Epstein. Okay.
Oh.
Brian Epstein saw the Beatles at the Cavern Club and said, we're going to change your image. But they were doing Elvis. Everything the Beatles were playing that wasn't their original music were all...
The 50s American...
All that American rock and roll, right. And the Beatles were absolutely obsessed with Elvis Presley.
Wow.
So the Beatles come to town. And this is, I believe, the first time the Beatles were here in Los Angeles. And they want to meet Elvis. Excuse me.
Sure.
The Beatles want to meet Elvis.
And they're here in Hollywood. They could maybe make that happen, right? Because Elvis was in pictures and stuff.
Oh, yeah. So
Elvis was in pictures. Listen to me. I'm getting right into it.
Yeah. Elvis was in them moving pictures there. He was making the talkies. That's right. Elvis was
getting into your story.
He was making the talkies. So the aside to this story is that my uncle was Elvis Presley's best friend, spiritual advisor, guru, hairdresser originally. Elvis called him to do his hair, but he didn't really care about the hair. He brought my uncle up to his house. So, yeah, this is
a consigliere kind of thing, just to be the advice?
My uncle owned a hair salon on the corner of Fairfax and Melrose with a guy named Jay Sebring. Jay Sebring, anybody?
It's familiar.
I'll tell you why in a second. So, in 1960, and this was like 58, 59, and they were like the first unisex hair salon in L.A., and they were doing celebrity guys would come in to get their hair styled.
Right, not cut.
Barbered.
Ooh, that's a big distinction then.
That's correct. And my Uncle Larry...
Going to a unisex place in general, I think, was a big deal.
My Uncle Larry Geller was the first guy to import this device from China called the blow dryer. And they were using the blow dryer.
The dome, the whole thing? Or
no,
was it
that's
just a handheld?
The blow dryer.
Wow.
Right.
Oh, my gosh.
So one day the phone rings, and now my uncle, I should tell you.
Those are old and expensive.
And yes, they are. So I should tell you, my uncle is also like a crazy religion guy. Like, yes, Jewish, but also studied 16, I think, different philosophies and religions, from Taoism to Buddhism. Like, you name it, my uncle studied it.
It's not a surprise that he would be a consigliere to someone of that.
Well, Elvis calls the shop, or someone calls the shop and asks for my uncle, and he's like, Elvis would like to come up to the Bel Air house and do his hair. So they send a car. Now, my uncle was a massive Elvis fanatic, and they send the car. My uncle gets in the car, and they drive up to the Bel Air house. They go in the bathroom. My uncle starts cutting Elvis's hair, and Elvis goes, so what are you into, man? And my Uncle Larry's like, well, Jay and I have this shop. And, we're starting to cut guys' hair. And, the whole thing is taking off. And Elvis goes, no, man. I know about you. You're here for a reason. So what are you into? So 3 hours later, they come out of the bathroom. My uncle calls Jay and he goes, I'm going to stay with Elvis. And my uncle was with Elvis until the day Elvis died.
Holy smokes.
Holy shit.
Right. My uncle
what did he mean by I know what you're into?
Elvis was always searching for a greater meaning to life.
I always heard that also.
And he was highly disturbed by his fame. And he didn't understand why he was, in his words, chosen to be this person, especially since he had a twin brother who died shortly after birth. Yes.
Elvis supposedly had imposter syndrome, right? Where you're always worried about being found out, about not being as good as you are. You don't feel that you're worthy of your fame or success.
That's absolutely
true. Happening.
Absolutely true. And he didn't understand it. And, him and my uncle used to sit up at nights, and my uncle would bring him books. Tons and tons of books, and Elvis would just read these
material.
books. And you could see a change in Elvis's music, where Elvis's music started to get more spiritual and more right. Well, that's all my uncle's influence. That's all because of my Uncle Larry. My Uncle Larry took acid with him and Priscilla when Priscilla was 18, and he dosed him and Elvis for the first time, and Elvis tripped. Oh, yeah. It was like, yeah, my uncle's a really insane guy. My uncle was friends with Salvador Dali, and he used to sell weed to John Lennon and George Harrison, which brings me back to the story. So,
wow.
The Beatles
this is your
are in
best
town.
appearance yet, Richard
So
CHASSLER.
the
This is
Beatles
amazing.
are in town, and they want to meet Elvis. And they get it all set up through the channels, and the roads are closed off coming up to the house.
Holy shit! It's
Yeah, it was like a big deal.
Big deal.
And you have to understand, every night outside Elvis's house, every night outside the gates, there's girls.
Because this is Graceland you're talking about,
No,
right?
this is the Bel Air house.
Oh, wow,
Elvis
of
had
course, we're
Palm
here, that's
Springs,
right.
Bel Air, Graceland. So this.
Do people know where the house is in Bel Air now? Where Elvis's
I don't know. You
house
could
was?
Google it. Elvis's Bel Air house. You'll
It's
see
not
where
like
it
a
was.
famous.
Well, that house was then sold to somebody else, who was then sold to somebody else, and I think Marvin Davis wound up buying that property. I think. Anyway, so there was always girls outside the gates, and Elvis would always send my uncle out and Larry, go get some girls, man. And seriously, and my uncle would go out to the gate and he would grab girls. And one night he says to Elvis,
right?
And one night he says to Elvis, man, he goes, Elvis, you have sex with 3, 4, 5 different girls in a night. I'm lucky to get the run off of 2, but how do you do he goes, they're all different, man. Yeah, my uncle told me these stories. Everything I'm telling you is straight from the mouth of my uncle. Straight from the mouth of my Uncle Larry. So, the Beatles want to come up. It's all set up. And at the house is literally Elvis, my uncle, Elvis's housekeeper, and David Stanley, who was nowhere to be found, who is Elvis's stepbrother. The Beatles come in the house. And Elvis is nowhere. No one knows what the fuck Elvis is. He's in his bedroom, whatever. And the Beatles are there, and they're sitting in the living room. And Elvis finally comes in the living room, and he sits down. And sitting there are literally Elvis, my uncle, and the Beatles.
Amazing. It's gravity. That's gravity in that room.
They're sitting in the living room, and all 4 of the Beatles are staring at Elvis like this.
Because he's Elvis.
Elvis walks in and they all go.
There he is.
He is.
First time ever even
That's
seen
the King of Rock. That's the guy who inspired them to do what they are doing because of
shorter
them.
than I thought he'd be.
Right. So and they all go and they're all literally sitting there. And my uncle says probably a minute goes by.
Son of a bitch, put those somewhere, would you?
So probably a minute.
It's a good story here.
Probably a minute goes by. They're just staring at Elvis. And Elvis finally looks at my uncle, and he looks at the Beatles, and he goes, well, if y'all aren't going to say anything, I'm going back to bed.
Yeah.
Just like that.
You're not bringing anything to the table.
Totally broke the ice. And this is that famous night where John Lennon played the piano, and they all sang around the piano. And, yeah, and they wound up hanging out for hours. So
What's famous about that night other than that sounds like an amazing thing?
That they sat around Elvis's piano and the Beatles sang with Elvis. Like, again, you can Google this story. This is like major rock and roll history story.
It's incredible. And your uncle is the
He was
sixth
there.
wheel.
Right. So at one point during the night, George disappears. Nobody knows where George is. Nobody can find George Harrison.
To be very clear, we're talking about the Beatle George Harrison.
Right. Not the guy who works at the Vons on
George.
Van Owen and Reseda. Right. Georgie Harrison. Right. So nobody can find George. So my uncle goes outside. He's like walking around looking for George, and there's George smoking a joint in the backyard.
Oh, outside. Okay,
outside.
sure.
Right. George like disappears. He does like a French exit and goes and lights up a bone, and he's smoking out in the backyard. So my Uncle Larry, George offers the joint to my uncle. My uncle smokes a joint with him. And George asks him, he goes, you know anywhere in town I could get some good weed? I don't know if he says it like that, but my uncle goes, yeah, me.
Yeah.
And gave him his number, and then George gave John my uncle's number, and every time they would come to town, they would call my uncle, and they'd come over and hang out with my uncle, and my uncle would hook John Lennon up with weed, and
absolutely incredible. I mean, I totally believe all of it, but wow, that's so great. All from because of that shirt.
Yeah.
So good.
His name is Larry Geller. And
is he still alive?
Oh, yeah, he lives in Sedona.
Oh, great.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Do you get to see him very often?
I have not seen him in a few years, and I really need to make a trip out to Sedona. I need some Larry time.
All right, well, this is this is a nice segue, Richard CHASSLER. I feel like you designed this entire segment so far today. We've already complimented both your look, your attitude, your energy. Everything is very, very good.
Thank you.
You said to me before the show that last time you were here and maybe last year you were going through some stuff and life was whatever. You seem great now. What has changed? Why are things better? What are you prepared to talk about? What do you not want to blah, blah, blah.
I talk about everything.
Why are things so good for you? Because they genuinely seem good for you.
Well,
and that makes us both very so happy.
It's funny,
happy.
we're in a dubious business.
Yeah.
And you have up years and down years, and you go through things, and sometimes you make good money, and sometimes you don't make good money, and then sometimes you make really good money, and you invest that money, and then sometimes that money doesn't come back. Mm-hmm. And then you go into a down year. Yep.
Sure.
And so it's
amazing how few things need to go wrong to have some catastrophic failures happen in that regard.
Catastrophic or whatever. I'm
saying specifically from our experience, so I don't even know what you're talking about, but it's amazing how little it takes. You think you're set, and then it's like, whoa.
America is literally the only Western country in the world where you're one serious illness away from being homeless.
That's totally true.
Yeah. It's really, really, really sad. And so I got sick, and then I lost some cash and whatever, and I just was...
But your health is better now?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was just, I am a person who expects miracles, and I expect greatness, and I try to operate at a level where, I'm trying to do my best, and I expect other people and not to be lazy about it. You know what I mean? So when I fail myself in any way, I can be my hardest critic or punisher,
Yeah.
And so I just I had last year was a little bit more difficult for me, and I'm a depression eater.
Yeah, we talked about that part.
I'm not one of those people. I don't know those people who like get depressed and look like they did an ounce of blow. Like, who are they?
No, you feed the pain, right?
Yes, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, whether it's booze or food, sure.
If things aren't going well, what are you going to do? Sit around and not eat?
What do you think about?
I mean, at least you got food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's people who are depressed who have no food. That's like exercising your right to vote.
I can't tell if this is a bit or if it's really how you feel.
It's not. I'm just talking to you.
No, I mean, or if it's really how you feel.
It's really how I feel.
Okay.
When have you ever known me to say something? And by the way, if it's a bit, it's really how I feel anyway.
Yeah, I don't. Then I guess the positioning is then I don't necessarily agree with you.
You don't have to. I understand.
Good point.
I'm just saying that and by the way, I didn't say everybody should do this. I'm saying I don't understand the ones who don't. The same way I don't understand people who love cats.
Oh, that's right.
You don't need to agree with me. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't want a pet that's going to judge me. And if I'm feeling depressed, the only thing I want to do is fucking eat. And hopefully the food is white. Mashed potatoes, fettuccine Alfredo, vanilla ice cream.
So it sticks right to the
comfort.
Right to the ribs.
I mean,
heavy gravy.
Yes, exactly.
Biscuits, yeah.
I'm not like, oh man, what a shitty month this was. I'll have a salad.
I think it depends on what we talked about this too. It depends on what the depression is based on. But for me, if I am unhappy about something that perhaps if it was in any way my doing, there's like a depression or a guilt that comes in, and then I don't eat. It's almost like I mean, this doesn't happen that much in adult life, but in looking back at behavior I used to have and exhibit, I think that it's almost like you're self-punishing, you know what I mean? Almost like, well, you're making yourself go to bed without dinner or something stupid, like a child.
It's masochistic in like a very psychological.
But I don't go wash my mouth out with soap if I say something I don't like on the show.
Your body turns off. It's
I think it's chemical. I think because like your doctor will ask you like, is there a loss of appetite, right? And
yes,
I think that when it's
if
language,
you go check out for depression,
right? And if it's language, and by the way, I've never taken a single pill for like he said to me, he goes, "Yo, you want some Xanax?" I'm like, "No, I got weed."
Good for you.
I
mean, good for you for not going the pharmaceutical route. I think that once you get on that ride, you can't get off, or it's very difficult.
I'm going to tell you, okay, the joke I've done is if you're feeling depressed, walk, listen to music that you associate with. Yeah. Seriously, watch a TV show that makes you happy, and
it's all about changing your state.
Get money.
Yep.
Yeah, get money. Because it's amazing how when you get money, all of a sudden, you're not so depressed.
Well, energy it comes in many forms.
But when work is good,
money is without a doubt energy.
Well, when
without
work
a
is
doubt.
and work is good, and I can't complain right now. And
you're doing great work-wise. You're all over the freaking place.
Work is good, and we have a show that we've been pitching around a little bit, and we're hoping to get some traction on that. And
is it anything that we know about from the past that you'd been trying, or is this something new?
Nope. This is this might be the thing I talked about last time I was here.
I'm happy that something's.
By the way, is this my 7th or 8th?
I don't know. We stopped counting because you're not exactly like invite. It's not like. You know what I mean? Like, you're here because we want you here because you're
as
part
opposed
of
to the
show.
other guests who are here because we don't want them here. We have to have them.
No, but I mean, you pointed out earlier, you're part of the staff. So it's almost like you could be your 26th appearance. It doesn't count. You know what I mean? It's like there's an asterisk there no matter what.
Well, I had done 3 or 4 appearances before you guys even asked me to come on board.
Without a doubt. So if you want to count them all, we can, and you'll have to do the math because I'm not keeping tabs.
But I don't book myself very often.
No, we want you here every 6 months because we want you here every 6 months.
Right, which is about. And by the way,
I think that's what Eddie Brill used to do on the Letterman show, isn't it? Wouldn't he be
kind
on
of,
at least once a year?
Today's Eddie's birthday. By the way,
Come
shout
on,
out,
really?
Today is Eddie's birthday, and I already wished him happy birthday.
That's amazing.
I already wished him a happy birthday, but I'm going to shout out to my pally Eddie Brill in New York. Poker game when I'm in the city. Oh, yeah. Happy birthday to my pal Eddie Brill.
That's awesome. That's funny. I didn't bring that up for that reason.
Hey, Eddie has the same birthday as Bob Weir.
Oh, hey, there you go.
Hey, there you go. I should be wearing an Eddie Brill t-shirt also.
With that, let's at least talk about that. How has it been for you being a producer and a booker on this show? How has that worked out for you in your life doing what you do?
Well, first let me say that I am unbelievably proud to be part of this extravaganza.
Thanks, dude.
Seriously, it is really awesome to start out with something that is like a tiny infant. That
barely an idea.
It's and you look at it and you go, "Oh, this is fun." And the next thing you know, it's like grown into something that has taken on its own shape and form.
It's new,
And when I toured with my Grateful Dead band, like that's what it was. It started as something that we put together as this tribute idea. Everybody played their parts perfectly, and the next thing you know, we're selling 1,000 tickets in theaters up and down the coast. Like
doing your own thing.
It was crazy.
That's awesome.
Playing their music.
Your own way, though, the whole thing.
Kind of,
I love it.
But it's just this weird thing when you see something and it all of a sudden, and I love what the show is and what it's doing. And I still see so much more potential for it.
Yes. Love hearing that.
Right now I am, booking the comedians. I'm sort of the, producer of the comedy segment, if you may. Whatever.
You're our Eddie Brill.
But I really see myself, like, if we can get to another, I really see myself in more of a real producer role because I really see tremendous potential for this thing. I really, really do.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, and
it's exciting. We are in the same place where it's there's been growth. and people seem to like whatever this has become, and it's become something that we weren't trying to do. Everything we were trying to do, or try this, try that, whatever, wherever we settled is just us. This is just us.
Well, I gotta say that, I mean, I was looking again through the list of comedians that have come on the show.
We've had quite a few comedians.
And I'm like beside myself.
That's your list of work?
That those people came out to do me a favor and come on this show, and then every single one of them afterwards went, oh my God, those people are amazing. Like, that was the best time. I can't believe it. I want to come back again and again. Like,
oh my God,
I'm not kidding you. There is, you can tell, like, I lose words sometimes when I'm truly moved, and the fact that I'm associated with the show and that you guys are my friends and that, you know, they then meet you and then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, how do you know those people? I'm serious. That's cool. That's the thing that I've learned, is that people don't invest in an idea. They don't invest in a product. They invest in a person. When you're in the room and people are buying, they're buying you. You could be selling them whatever it is you have, it's really you that they're buying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can't believe that those people are my friends and that
you've brought some great people to the show.
All right, I trust you. And then they come here, and then the next thing you know, like, we've got insane people coming on this show.
It's like we haven't even mentioned some of the names that you've already booked that are coming up in this coming month.
Oh yeah, this is a biggie. We have some good ones coming up.
There's some very big names going to be on the show.
I'm most excited, and I got to confirm it this week. But I'm really, I can tip it. I don't really.
Do you want to say it?
Roy?
It's fine with me. Yeah, sure.
Oh, I'm so excited to have Roy Firestone coming. You know, you don't even know. Like, Roy is a genius.
Yeah.
Like, Roy, first of all, is one of the greatest impressionists. Have you ever seen him do?
No.
Roy's a. You don't even know. Roy
I mean, I
like
remember the comedy and stuff from way back before he was like, such a successful businessman.
He is so talented, and I was a fan of Roy's when I was a kid, and he was doing sports in LA, you know, and Roy Firestone with sports. So I like.
That's exactly. I didn't grow up here, but for me, it's the same thing from Show Me the Money. Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire.
Don't make me cry, Jerry.
Right.
I'm not gonna cry for you, Roy.
Yeah.
He's like a star of the movie because of that whole scene.
Roy is so smart and so talented, and so his opinions are so well substantiated because he's a voracious reader. And he is really just like, I don't very often come on Wednesdays to the show, to see someone. In fact, I think I've only been here once for a show on Wednesdays. Okay, but I'm definitely.
Well, you're also booking people who don't need their hand held too, which is nice.
Yeah.
I'm booking people who I can see when I want to see them. I'm coming for Roy.
Cool.
There's pictures. I'm going to be here for Roy. Yeah.
Does everyone remember that scene? He's a famous interviewer. Roy Firestone is a famous interviewer. He's famous for really getting into the nitty gritty of things, and often getting into that emotional place. And sometimes people cry. So that's what the whole Cuba Gooding scene. That was what that whole thing was all about. But it's all because he's such a good interviewer, because he's so good at what he does.
He's as good as Bob Costas.
And I don't know anything about sports. Oh,
yeah, he is. Yeah, so anyway, we've got some good people coming up. But anyway.
So, all right, so can I talk to you about what this has been like? What do you, now that you've been doing it for a while now.
Over a year and a half.
And you've really, as you pointed out, brought some names in. What are you, Richard CHASSLER, looking for in a talk show guest? I know you're not just getting whatever name and whoever will say yes. I know that.
I'm as picky as can be. I look for the same show in a guest that I look for in a bottle of wine. How do you like that?
Let's hear it. What does that mean?
I want something that's quality. Okay? I want something that people go, oh. It's got to have wow factor. I'm not booking people. I mean, look, I love all my friends and I love all the comedians that I know, but no offense to anybody, but I'm really booking headliners. I'm booking people who are bringing something to the table, because I want the show to have credibility. And when you see, you gave me something to jump with. You gave me Carol Leifer. So I had...
Oh, because we'd already had her on.
Carol had done the show.
It's a good name.
So I had a little bit of credibility. So I literally jumped off and called 10 people on A level who all know Carol.
Great.
Okay, that's how when we started, and all of a sudden I go, I got 2 months booked, and you were like, oh my God, how'd you get these people? Well, they all knew Carol. So I don't even know if they called Carol, but I said to all of them, look, Carol's already done the show. I've done the show. Gabe went, I'll do the show. Don McHenry went, I'll do the show. You know, like all of a sudden, like all the New Yorkers who all came up together said, yeah, I'm in. So I just called all my friends and went like, I got this thing going, and
that's really cool.
It's really cool. You know.
Gabe's coming back, I think, at some point too. Right?
I have Gabe. Yeah.
He was one of my, because whatever. He really he's so good. He's so good. I love his brain.
Guy.
I was supposed to, I'm excited to have him back because on a personal note, we were supposed to get together at some point, and life got crazy.
Without me? What? Are you seeing my friends behind my back?
I think what happened was I had forgotten to invite you, and I was like, well, I can't see him without Richard.
Are you seeing my friends behind my back? That's going to bring us to our next segment if it is.
What is it?
Why aren't they in your friend Alex's movie?
Daddy Issues. It's about gay and lesbian.
So?
Oh boy! All right. Let's see. I want to know who your favorite talk show guests were of all time, and I don't care the show. Johnny, Merv, Letterman.
Oh, Johnny, can we? You brought something up. I heard because I listen when I'm in the green room.
Thank you. We appreciate that. What are we pointing?
Where's Chad?
Oh, he leaves at 11. He
doesn't stay for the taping anymore?
No.
Chad, I'm getting you back.
Well, because it's the internship thing.
I understand. It's not paid. I get it. You know, You
should have seen the pencil. We had a whole thing yesterday because the pencils were not sharpened.
You know what I do with these pencils?
Drum?
I have a pair of them in my car for traffic.
I used to keep a pair of drumsticks in the car for the
I did too.
For all those years commuting.
Yeah, and it's great.
Yeah.
So Johnny is known, hands down. You want to learn how to die, watch Johnny.
Oh, this is because I brought this up earlier. Beautiful.
Johnny Carson was a master of dying. A master. And when I talk to young comedians who are afraid of dying or they don't understand about owning the stage, and part of owning the stage and being comfortable on stage and being in the moment and being present is understanding how to roll with every punch that happens while you're on that stage. And if you tell a joke that lays an egg, and it might happen, I mean, you know, when you're a comedian and you're at that level where it just works all the time, you know what I mean? That really rarely happens. But when you're a talk show host, for example, and you're getting things written on the fly every day at every, you know what I mean?
Coming in at all angles too.
None of this stuff is tried and true tested. None of it. That's why you have 25 writers in a room. Okay?
Yeah.
So when Carson would do a joke that would tank, he had more fun dying, right?
There's nobody more fun to watch.
Which makes it not uncomfortable.
Yeah.
The audience then doesn't go, ooh.
They're not nervous.
They're not nervous for it.
Because he's not uncomfortable.
Right. When you go to a comedy club, you see a younger stand-up comedian, a young aspiring guy coming up, and he's not doing well. You're kind of like...
There's an unease.
You feel bad for him. You could feel his uneasiness.
Yeah.
You could see the beads of sweat forming right around. You know
it's
what I mean?
It's not comfortable. Yeah.
No. But if you can die with dignity and have fun doing it, then the audience will have fun watching you die.
It's a crazy power cycle.
Which means at the end of the day, you did your job. Okay? Maybe not the way you set out intending to do the job, but the end result is the same. You gave the audience the laughs they came to get.
Do you feel that young comics don't get that? Or maybe inexperienced comics don't get that?
Yeah, I don't think they get anything.
Because they're... But because it's so the foresight is so short, it's 2 + 2 = laugh, 2 + 2 = laugh, blah blah blah. Versus
which they don't understand, by the way.
It's about the long game, and did they enjoy the entire 6, 15, 45, however many minutes?
Young comedians, I'm going to say young aspiring comedian, and I am a snooty snoot about this stuff, okay? And because there's the internet now and memes, and people could make a meme that says like headliner, you know, and you've done 12 shows.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But all of a sudden, like, you've got access and power in a computer, like you can turn yourself into a headliner. You're not a headliner. You're not even a stand-up comedian, okay? If you're a person who's been doing open mics for 2 years and you call yourself a comedian, you really aren't doing yourself a service, It's like I equate that with someone in med school calling themselves a doctor.
Okay, good. How many years would you say? 10 is when you've sort of earned your stripes enough to at least sit at the table? Or at least call yourself...
There's an or. Okay, there's like a 5-year or 50,000-mile warranty on this deal. I think it's really, if you can walk into a room and you can give a room full of strangers 30 minutes of crushing laughter without having to work the crowd. Okay? That means
just material.
Yes. That means
That's
you got
a lot.
I know it is.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And you can own it in a way that you can't be heckled off or knocked off your platform, and you can go in and out of all your bits seamlessly from one to another if something happens
in any circumstance,
in
any scenario.
circumstance, and you can do that for 30 minutes. Then you've earned the right to call yourself, in my opinion, a comedian.
I love that.
Seinfeld thinks it's 60.
60
minutes.
Oh, I see.
Okay,
Same thing, but with double the time.
I think it's 30 minutes because at 30 minutes, you can be booked to be a feature act on the road. You can be paid. You can be making money. You can. But that takes, I'm not lying to you, 7, 8, 9 years of being on the road, not hanging out at the Comedy Store, doing open mics around Los Angeles, getting 5 minutes a pop. You got to be on the road doing 15 Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, 1 show Sunday, week after week after week after week after week. Like this generation is so fucking lazy and have such a misguided idea.
You can do a podcast from your phone. I mean,
of but they have such a misguided idea of what it takes to master the art form of stand-up comedy. That if they really took my class, which I'm really thinking of teaching, most of them will quit. I'm not kidding. Or they'll think I'm nuts. And what does he know?
Yeah.
You know, I know that you don't go on stage and talk for 10 minutes trying to find a punchline. Okay? That's what I know.
Write it ahead of time?
Yeah. Because we do it and we make it look like so easy.
Well, often sometimes sometimes it's constructed to look as though you thought of it just then and there, when the truth is this has been written 5, 6, 7 years and performed 6,000, 7,000 times.
I've been doing
to make it look like you just thought of it right now.
I've been doing it 34 years this February. You think that I don't own it? That when I do something and you know what? Like when I do that on stage, you don't think I have already thought I'm going to do that?
Right.
Unless really,
I can tell you the next 10 lines too.
And by the way, it might be something real and totally genuine, but you can't tell the difference.
Right.
Okay? And
well, not once you've done the work. Not later. Once you've amassed all of that stuff you just said, then later you can't tell the difference.
To be a great stand-up comedian, you have to be literally, you have to be great at 3 other art forms. You have to be a great writer. You have to be a great comedy performer. And you have to be a great director because you got to know how to stage your act.
Editor, I'd throw in there too.
Yeah.
But I guess that's directing too.
The audience will help you with that, or your friends will help you. Hey, you know what? I got a tag for you. I got a way to fix that joke, you know.
Yeah,
your friends
clean it up.
Yeah, your friends.
Reword.
Your friends who know how to write will help you with that shit.
So back to the question was, what is your favorite, think of a favorite talk show appearance.
Of any,
just yours. Yeah, because I've got a handful that always pop into my head, of course. And
that I
some
love
of them, I could almost pick a show and I'd give my favorite one from that show or something. So maybe who's your favorite?
That stick out, like when I was a kid.
That's what I have too. I have the ones when I was a kid that still resonate.
There are a few that really stick out. John Biner on the Captain and Tennille show.
Oh my God!
Holding 5 microphones and doing his impression of the Beach Boys.
Oh, that's interesting.
Genius. And there's people who are like, who's John Biner? Okay. That is a pretty...
That's pretty good.
That was a pretty good one.
I've never heard of that.
What was that on?
The Captain and Tennille show.
That was on the Captain.
Captain and Tennille had a variety show.
Yeah, short-lived, once a week.
Along with Flip Wilson
it was like a Friday night show, like a Carol Burnett type of show.
Okay.
Exactly. The Captain
Ed Sullivan,
Tennille
same
show.
deal.
And then they'd close it with Love Will Keep Us Together. You know? I mean...
So you knew it was the captain and Tennille.
Absolutely. Just in case you
Actually,
forgot.
so they get paid one more time.
Just in case you forgot who the guy in the captain's hat was.
And who's with the captain over there? Well, that's Tennille.
That's Tony
I always
Tennille.
forget, of course. How about from Johnny? And then I'll say Letterman, like maybe one from each of those guys.
So Crispin Glover from Letterman.
Oh, God, wasn't that an amazing?
Clearly the one for me. Or Drew Barrymore.
Right here, yeah.
On this desk.
That's a good one, yeah.
Flashing boobies.
And then, one of your guests, Mark Pitta, then recreated that right here. Scared the shit out of me one day because we do not have the big theater. So he climbing up here, it was like right in my face.
Yeah, you got to by the way, you got to let them know you're going to do that. They'll still act surprised, but you let them know. That's why Crispin got thrown off the show.
You're right. Right, it was an act. It was that he was trying to be zany and crazy and the whole bit, right?
No,
but he was also
crazy.
High on acid. Oh, okay.
I've been to a lot of Dead shows.
Didn't he have a whole thing of mushrooms he was showing, or there was he had a whole case of things he was showing off?
He came out with a briefcase.
Show and tell.
Yeah, but I remember he had these big clunky shoes on. And,
like from I'm going to get you sucking.
And he was like,
that's my
I'm
reference.
Strong, Dave. And he stands up and he started saying like, I'm strong, Dave. I can lift things.
Do you want to arm wrestle?
Kicks, and he just missed Dave and you see Dave move back.
I'm sitting literally at the same desk.
Yeah.
And it wasn't literally the same desk, but the same measurements and everything. And I can't even imagine a platform shoe coming anywhere.
Right across the desk.
Yeah, and you know how it is with the lights in your face. You can't really. It would be easy to mistake that and kill David Letterman.
Yeah, so Letterman, that one sticks out. Raquel Welch. There was a Raquel Welch appearance on Johnny Carson when I was a kid.
I can't wait to hear this.
In the white dress?
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Not the cat one.
That's what I was thinking. I thought you were talking about when she asked about the Zsa Zsa story that I don't think was even true.
Mind if do you want to, if you move the cat up, do you want to pet my pussy?
You know what? It might have been Jane Fonda that I'm thinking of.
I heard it was Raquel Welch, and she came out with a cat. And she's sitting there petting the cat during the interview, and she says to Johnny, "Would you like to pet my pussy?" And Johnny says, "Only if you move that cat off your lap."
I'd love to if you'd remove that damn cat.
Yeah, or something like that.
And it was I think it might have been whatever it was. I don't think the actual thing exists, but what did exist was, I believe it was Jane Fonda who said that. She's sitting there right there next to Johnny, who's here, and said, my son was watching the show last night, and he said, "Tell me if this is true." And Johnny's like, "Okay, we don't want to." He said and told the whole story, but I think it was Zsa Zsa Gabor and had the "Would you like to pet my pussy?"
Zsa Zsa. I don't know if you know this. We had Zsa Zsa Gabor on the show that day. Zsa Zsa was here.
But anyway, I think it was Jane Fonda.
It was Jane?
I think so. Because I don't think the moment ever existed.
Because if you're going to do a pussy joke to anybody, Jane Fonda's the one you want to really lay out.
She set it up.
Hanoi Jane.
I'm saying I think the kid and she set it up. Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I don't think it's true. I don't think there was ever a clip
of that. Actually.
Right. I think the kid told Jane Fonda, and then she told that story on Johnny Carson.
That definitely sounds.
The birth of folklore.
But who knows?
The birth of folklore.
Let's see. What makes a good guess? We did that. Favorite talk show appearance?
That's a really good one.
Well, because you're doing this now, so I'm curious what sparks with you.
I mean, Jerry and Bob on Letterman, and they've done it several times, but there was one specific one where they levitated Jerry.
That was on the old show. I just saw that clip last year. Somebody had sent that
when Bob did this because Bob.
Really did it.
Yeah, and they fucking lifted Jerry.
Yeah,
they fucking lifted Jerry's fat ass up off the chair.
It's so funny.
That one kind of sticks. Oh, now my cheeks hurt like I'm on acid.
Because you're happy.
Yeah,
smiling.
Of course.
I'm so glad you're doing well. Did we get to all the things that we're supposed to get to? We're going to do like your plugs and everything. But
we've got some plugs coming up.
All right, let's do that now. It's time to do Billboard. More about this guest. Go ahead.
We never talked about the acting. We didn't talk.
We'll
that's all right. We didn't talk about a lot of stuff. But you can kick me out. It's got a time to go. I know.
Well, we do have
Show's
a time.
an hour.
It's past your bedtime. I know. Mine always run long.
This one won't. You usually
yes, I should stop telling people it's 12 to 1:30.
Yeah,
I do because I'm usually here 12 to 1:30.
Well, I found out something very exciting that I didn't know before, which was that you would, if given the option, if like you said, if the president of show business called you and said, "Listen, we need you to act. Can you do it?" You'd actually give all of this up to go be a serious actor.
What?
Well, we talked about this very briefly on the show once before because we talked about Scorsese and some other things. But this blew me away because I feel like you Richard CHASSLER, the guy who's sitting here before me today, could be successful at that. You play Jewish, you play Italian, you play angry, you play happy. You've got an interesting look. Why wouldn't this already be happening if that's what you wanted? And why are you working so hard at this other stuff if that's not what you want?
Well,
that's why I didn't ask it. I didn't have time.
Overall answer is I need a better theatrical agent.
All right.
And the answer to the
or
second,
maybe one at all, because
no,
it seems
I have
like
one who's not very good. And the answer to
I would say then you don't have one. You may be on somebody's roster, but that's about
my
it.
agent got me. I've been in 2 Academy Award nominated movies. Did you know that? I've worked.
Which side are you fighting right now? Yours or mine? Is the guy good or not?
My agent?
Yeah.
He's not good.
Okay.
I'm telling you a story. My agent got me my audition for Hitchcock and hasn't gotten me a theatrical audition since. And I booked
Really
the
leaning on
movie. I played Martin Balsam in the Academy Award nominated movie Hitchcock. I did scenes with Helen Mirren. I did scenes with Al Pacino
in
The Insider.
Yeah, I think first time we talked about
what
it.
you don't know is that, yes, if the president of showbiz called me and said, okay, you got 2 choices. You could either fill Carnegie Hall as a stand-up comic and be the biggest thing since Dice Clay, or you could make movies for the rest of your life and probably get nominated for Academy Award. Fuck, take the microphone. I slept in my car for a year.
But you're
in the
becoming
street.
what seemed such a tight entity of I know what this guy's all about. The entire interview has now gone out the window for me because I'm like, why is he working so hard towards this other thing when he wants this other thing?
Well, because this pays the bills.
Okay.
This is waiting. Stand-up comedy for me literally is my day job.
You've been doing it long enough now that it is your career, and I see.
No!
Push-pull, the Hitchcock push-pull.
On my tanja, on my uvula, like, no! Cut to me as like a 75-year-old man in like the Catskills. Listen, sonny, I started doing this when Reagan was president.
All right, so I guess what we're getting at is anybody who sees this show, like an Alex Bloom who was here yesterday, who writes and produces movies.
Go to my
and stuff
website,
like
watch
that.
my reel.
Stop that. If they like you here, they're not going to do that. If they like this and want this in their movie, they should call you.
What they should understand.
Oh my gosh.
No.
You're making it too much work for everybody.
I'm not. It's one simple piece of information because it's what everybody wants to know.
Oh.
Is he trained? Can he do the work?
But you're still Adler. I knew
That's
all that.
right. I studied with Stella. I lived in my car in the street for a year because I couldn't afford a home and Stella.
I knew all of that.
So,
but
yes.
the story then goes, I became a stand-up comedian and have been
To
working
pay
for
my bills.
34 years
Yeah.
or whatever since.
Well, that's how long it's taking me to get my fucking acting break.
Oh, I see.
What are you fucking kidding me?
That's good. You've been working towards it this whole time.
Yes!
The whole time, I go up on stage waiting to be discovered.
I started as a Jimmy Bayo lookalike, and now I can play everybody's accountant. Okay?
The cans and the trenches, they just get bigger and bigger. Who is who? Richard CHASSLER, I would like to know, let's see, it's time to do a billboard. What do you have coming up?
What do I have coming up? I've got some stuff coming up. So on, I believe, October 26th, Thursday, I think that is, I'll be at the Rec Room in Huntington Beach. You can see me performing down there. So if you live down by Huntington Beach, come on out to the Rec Room. And if you DM me on my Instagram at Richard CHASSLER, I will comp your tickets.
Ooh,
absolutely.
Cool.
So find me online, follow me, and I will hook you up at the door. And then November 19th, I will be in Mill Valley at the
Throckmorton Theater.
fabulous Throckmorton Theater.
Beautiful Throckmorton.
Beautiful Throckmorton. And then the following night, November 20th, I'll be in Redding, California at the fabulous Wynn River Casino.
Wynn River?
The Wynn River Casino.
Is it named the Wynn River and then this is the casino?
WINN-RIVER Casino.
Interesting. Yeah. Sounds like a neat... I'm picturing like an Old West theme or something. Is that what it's like there?
No. In fact, it's more like
Prim
New
Nevada
Mexico.
is what I'm picturing.
It's a little Prim Nevada-ish, but it's really more New Mexico because it's a Native American.
Oh,
so it's an Indian
casino. It's a reservation
I hate
land.
using that word. Yeah, it's a reservation casino, and so it has very much like there's a hollowed-out canoe, like hanging in the thing. I've worked this place before.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It's
it sounds fun. Yeah. I like that stuff.
It sounds like old and rustic and random.
it's new and millions and millions of dollars going through. Ching, 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 ching. It's a big old casino.
And then did you say social media? What about social media?
At Richard CHASSLER on, oh boy. At Richard CHASSLER on, we got to do this. At Richard CHASSLER on Instagram.
Yep.
My website is Richard CHASSLER, and I've been suspended from Twitter permanently.
Permanently?
For using the word bullet in a punchline.
Well, I mean, what was the... Do you want to do the material, or are we going to get flagged on YouTube?
Somebody put up a post, you know, and it was just a... You know, it could have been Jimmy Dore, just an innocuous post like, I wonder what the last thing that went through Mitch McConnell's mind was before the Senate had to vote.
Oh,
on
I
this.
see. And you said
and I wrote, should have been a bullet. That was it. I commented on his post, and they shut my Twitter off for harassment.
Right, because you said should have been.
But I didn't harass anybody. And I'm a comedian.
But I feel like you know more than anybody that language absolutely means something. So if you had just said a
language
bullet,
only
if you said
means-
a bullet, I bet you'd be fine.
Agreed.
Regardless, I had to get a publicist to try to help me with this.
Get back on Twitter?
I'm trying.
Holy
They
shit.
don't want to give me back my account.
Are you still on Facebook?
I'm
I know
on
that's kind of
Facebook.
old, but I mean, are you still...
I'm on Facebook, and I'm on
A publicist is
Instagram.
the wrong person. Just
Really?
FYI.
Who would be the right person?
A lawyer.
A lawyer.
I agree with that.
What type of lawyer?
Talk to anyone who's a lawyer, and they can tell you better. I'm not going to speculate on that, but a publicist, I would say, is
Yeah,
the
they may
wrong
know the right lawyer. They may connect you to the right dot, but...
Yeah, not worth hiring a publicist.
Yeah, Twitter. I'm a bleeding heart liberal. I would never even own a gun. I am a stand-up comic.
It doesn't matter, yo.
Yeah, you're a deadhead, man.
Yeah,
You're all about love
dude.
and peace.
And by the way, I tried to appeal them, and I wrote a thing, a whole thing.
Sorry
and
about the bullet thing.
Yeah, like I would never, like, you know. Sorry. So now I might have to start another Twitter.
Well, maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Maybe that is exactly what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
A new CHASSLER Twitter.
Funny wino.
Snooty Snoot.
I don't know. Maybe at Snooty Snoot.
Yeah, why not?
That could be good.
Ooh, that could be good.
We've got other stuff coming up, but we'll talk to you about that stuff off the air. And
is
how
always
about this?
fun.
I'll ask you one last question. No, I won't.
Oh, and I was just going to
would
give a
put you on
quick
the
shout
spot.
out to my
Please.
almost new sponsors, Naked Extracts, who
Oh, yeah,
are
that's
in
right. For
Portland,
your-
Oregon.
Yep, go ahead.
And make the cleanest, purest, best distillate I've ever really had. I'm not kidding you. They're so good. Connie and Mike are masters.
This
and
is somebody who's a new sponsor of yours.
Yes.
But it's a medicinal cannabis
It's a
product,
medicinal cannabis product that comes out of Portland, and they're the cartridges with the
For the
oil
pens,
For the
yeah.
pen,
pens,
yeah.
right? That you can put in the brass knuckles thing,
right.
for example.
We had a guest a long time ago who gave us a bunch
Right.
of those. That's why you have that one.
But their product is so clean and so good, and they're really about quality.
and say the
they're
name again.
Naked,
Naked
Extracts. And they call it naked because there's nothing but the right.
Clean.
Absolutely, totally clean. They're trying to get into California. I'm trying to help them, but
Well, by all means, please send them this link because, as you know, Mrs. Ryan also partakes in the medicinal cannabis for her
understand.
MS.
Absolutely.
And we're always open to product. Well, a lot of people have been very generous with sending us stuff. Try this, here, try this.
well,
and,
it's my pleasure to give them a shout out because we reach people, and their product certainly needs to reach people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You're all right, Richard
You're
CHASSLER.
pretty rad. Understanding more about the science behind it, I think, equalizes the playing field for a lot of people to
Definitely.
use it. So I love hearing.
Yeah,
that
the
you're
stigma that
involved.
we had always assumed is not accurate.
I
Right.
never had a stigma since I'm 12.
You see good?
I see good.
Let's see. Richard CHASSLER, I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy that you're doing well, and I'm
Yeah.
so happy that you're still excited to be part of this.
Oh, I'm never leaving until you
it's-
fire me, and then I'm suing.
Beautiful. Exactly what we want. Mrs. Ryan, what do we have here tomorrow? We've got Speed 0023, race car driver from Australia. Ron Goodman is here.
Yeah.
Coming in all the way
Wow.
from Australia. I know, it's exciting.
Yeah.
He
Right,
races-
mate? I'm going to make you go fast now, right?
Races a 356, I know, and then there's all sorts of other cars on his Instagram. But it's Speed 0023, Ron Goodman.
Yeah.
It's going to be in tomorrow, and we are excited about that. It's going to be some heavy Porsche talk, I think.
He sent so many things. I can't wait to go through it all.
We
He's
still have to go
fascinating.
for a ride. I still need to drive your car.
Well, I'm assuming, Richard CHASSLER, that you will come at least to one of the shows down at the Porsche Experience Center, because what you may or may not know,
definitely.
For a week,
It's in
we
the
are
South
going
Bay.
to be doing this show. For anybody who doesn't know, we didn't mention it earlier, for a week. It's the week of November 11th. Can't make that up, 11/11.
No, I have to see who's booked that week, and hopefully they understand
No
it.
one.
We've
It's
already,
all-
Oh, yeah, that's right. We didn't book a comedian that week. I forgot.
And we don't edit, so let's keep it together. Anyway, we're hoping that you will come down and grace us with your presence as well to see what we're doing in the big grand scheme of things.
No question. You could not keep me away from that. I was so excited when I found out that we were doing that.
It's going to be fun. Yeah, we're going to bring the whole set and everything. It's going to be fun.
I cannot wait.
All right, Mrs. Ryan, I love you so very much. Richard CHASSLER, we love you so very much.
I love you guys so very much.
We love everybody at home. Please love one another. And we
yes, love one another, most importantly. And vote!
Don't forget to phone the neighbors, wake the kids, all the stuff. All right, we love everybody. Please love one another, and we'll see you tomorrow with Ron Goodman, Speed 0023.